dangerous weapon, that computer, their operating system. That's what we're going over today. Simple and effective basic self-defense that you can use in this seniors walking cane self-defense or walking cane self-defense for seniors second video. I want you to learn how to do this very quickly. You don't necessarily have to be a senior. Anybody and everyone is allowed to carry this, especially here in the States. This is just an everyday walking cane. This one is actually made by Cane Masters. It's specifically for training, but you can carry any cane as long as it has this crook here. I'm going to show you how to use it. Start first in your right hand with the palm facing the sky. I always want you to warm up first. You're going to make a loose and closed grip, meaning you're not squeezing it. You're going to let it rotate in your hand as you start to spin forward. Spinning forward like this while you're standing or sitting in a chair. I'm going to show you that today. Standing or sitting, they're both good options. I always like to train both. I was working with someone last night and I had him doing both standing and sitting, both in the warm-up and when striking the bag, and as we were practicing mano-a-mano, one-on-one self-defense. Because I want you to know how to defend yourself while you're seated, and I also want you to see that if being seated is your only option, you have the ability to defend yourself. Good morning. So from here, your palm is facing up, you're circling it around, you're starting to engage the core, and then you're gonna go over and back in front of the body. This is almost like a slap across the face followed with a backhand attack. So you're coming over and back. And again, your goal is force the abdominal muscles, your core muscles that make your posture straight, force them to engage, and you're gonna go back and forth, side to side across the body. Get the blood to start to pump through your joints, keep them safe from injury, but also start to raise the temperature in your body. I want you to break a sweat. After about 30 seconds on one side, pop it into the other one. Slow as smooth, smooth as fast, so you can go slowly at first, start to crank it around. I'll show you from the other side. The key is always the long side's gonna come out of your thumb, and you're gonna just make a forward spinning motion. Starting slowly at first, gradually increasing that speed. The other hand's up, get in the habit of guarding your head. And now you're gonna come over and back from side to side. And again, it's just coming from here to here. Very similar to the nunchucks. Good point. Coming side to side. This is that figure eight motion. Just a simple spin. Your stomach's up and in, your abs are tight. You're gonna gradually increase that speed. Keep that other hand up. And I brought this in, I wanted to show you this first. This is, it's just a butterfly knife, a balisong. Some people like to use these for tricks or whatever, but these are very common in certain parts of the world. They're usually very sharp. This one's pretty sharp. They're usually very deadly weapons, right? If you say it's a slashing weapon and it's a stabbing weapon. Good, I'm glad you're here too. The nice thing about the wood, the reason this is such a great option is that it's not going to bleed and you have a significant reach advantage over the knife. The threat has the knife, you have your cane, you can keep them back. You do not want to try to take the cane. And I saw this great video by Tim Larkin this morning. Some of you guys know Tim Larkin. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I've watched, I think he had an older channel, he's got a new channel, or maybe he's just redone it. His channel is getting really good. But he wrote a book, and I wrote this book. I didn't write it, he wrote it. I read this book a few years ago, and I'm trying to think of the title of it. If you know the title, please put it in the comment section below so other people can take a look at the book. But I think When Violence is the Answer. I think that's his basic idea is self-defense is based on principles. Everything that I know that works about self-defense is aligned with what he says and informed by, I've learned so much from this guy called Tim Larkin. So Tim Larkin has way more practical experience and better philosophy than most people who are in martial arts, because martial arts, it's not that martial arts can't be good self-defense, but oftentimes there's just not enough information and not enough experience in the martial artist, the person teaching, to do it properly. But if you take some courses, like I've taken courses, and you follow people like Tim Larkin, you learn very quickly what really does work and what doesn't work. And he's all research-based. This guy, he knows a lot. Anyway, he talks all the time about don't try to take the weapon. And he gives really great examples. Good evening, it's good to see you too. Oh yeah, it's great to see all of you. I don't know if that means you and Larry and Danny are sitting there together. If you are, it's good to see you. Sensei Emmett, you've got to connect with Larry and Danny. They're on here too. You guys need to connect. And Sensei Emmett has a great interview channel where he interviews great martial artists, and he's just growing. But he already has like some amazing interviews on there. So go check it out. You guys definitely need to connect. And if you haven't already, you may already have. If you haven't, then do it today, right? When would right now be a good chance to do that? Anyway, or good time. Back to Tim Larkin. The basic idea, don't try to take the knife. Don't try to Krav Maga the gun away. Address their most dangerous weapon. The most dangerous weapon, especially for an experienced criminal, is their brain. Shut off the operating system, knock them out, and then you don't have to worry about the knife. You don't have to worry about the gun. You don't have to worry about all the things that you don't know that they're going to do to you or they can do to you that they've done to other people if you address that first. So using your walking cane, which gives you a reach advantage, gives you an advantage over the blade of the knife because it doesn't bleed. It also is a force multiplier. You might have a great punch, you might have a great palm strike, you might be able to chop to the neck, but now you have this hard piece of oak that you can thrust into the face, into the throat, into the solar plexus, creating that distance, and then immediately address their most dangerous weapon, which is turning off. Yeah, I've had that forever. It was my brother's. He passed and he left it to me. And I remember as kids, I remember when he got it. It was at one of those state fairs where you'd go with your brothers. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. If you're old like me, when you were young, you'd go to the state fair or the local fair, and there were all these carnies out there selling stuff that you could never buy anywhere else. Butterfly knives, nunchucks, fighting fans, all the great martial arts weapons that I had, other than ones I made, came from fairs when I was a kid. From here, you're behind your weapon, creating distance, and then that basic strike, either a horizontal or a diagonal strike, coming literally to the side of their head, or the other side, or straight down. Good point, Sensei Emmett. Straight down over the top. Knock them out, then you don't have to worry about the knife. So you have this tool, whether you're a senior, this is great for women's self-defense, this is great for anybody's self-defense, because you can carry this. And Danny and Larry will tell you, we know Master Dave, right? He's a big time cane guy. And I think, I don't know why his name pops in my head because he changes his name all the time every time I see him. Skip Ewing. He's also a cane guy. All right, so we're spinning. We went across the body and back, and then the other side spinning across the body and back. We talked about the reach advantage of the knife, and I said I wanted to show you this real quick before we go on to the strikes, which we're going to get into right away. If you are stuck in a chair or blessed to be in a chair because it's better than the alternative, but you have the need to be in a chair, you can still do all of the same warm-up moves that improve your core strength, your flexibility, your dexterity, and more importantly than that, you're able to easily, quickly defend yourself, right? Bring this through, break it, cross, rip the skin for self-defense right off the face. I said this earlier, you should train in a chair and standing. If you don't need a chair, meaning that you're not stuck in a wheelchair or you're not in a wheelchair, I keep saying stuck, but I know that's not the proper, appropriate term, right? But you're not in a wheelchair, you could be on a park bench. You could be waiting for the bus. You could be on the plane, because you can take this on the plane. You can be sitting, waiting in the bank. You could be in the subway. You could be waiting for the subway train. So you need to train sitting. Practice pushing them off with the bar. That's a basic self-defense motion. Practice side strikes. Just using your upper body through your midsection to turn, strike. Practice raking, right? They come in, they're aggressive, you stick that up, smash them, snatch them to the floor in front of you, and finish them off for self-defense. But practice that in the chair. I wanted to show that from the start because I often forget that. But now I want to go into 3 basic ways you're going to defend yourself. I'm going to give you a striking combination that I want you to practice. So the first way is you're going to have your cane with the crook facing the threat. The crook facing the crook, right? This is facing the threat. Your weight is on it. This is ergonomically stronger. This is a better position for you. We'll say this is the threat. I'm going to make him tall. Doesn't matter how tall they are. But that's going to be between his legs. That's the groin, right? And I'm going to take and just very quickly, and we did this in the first workout, bring it up between his legs. I want you to imagine, for self-defense, lifting him off, or her, lifting the threat off the ground, right? We also talked about this. This could be self-defense against a vicious dog in the neighborhood. I'm seeing more and more stories. Here's what happens. More and more stories about pit bulls in neighborhoods mauling people. Someone gets a pit bull thinking it's a great guard dog or whatever dog, and they lose their job. Now they have to choose, do I feed the dog? Do I feed my kids? Do I feed the dog? Do I feed myself? Or they get evicted, or they lose, they got to move out of town. They got to go somewhere else for a job. And not everybody makes the right decision, or they haven't, and it could be any kind of animal. It just happens that pit bulls are very common in the news. Any kind of dog, right? And they haven't treated it properly. Now all of a sudden they just let it go. They get in their car, they go somewhere else, or they're living in their car or whatever. They can't take care of the dog. And there are more, because there are more people with this COVID shutdown who are losing their jobs at the bottom, more people at the bottom. Now you've got a lot more desperate people. You need a cane, and you've got a lot more. That doesn't mean every person who's desperate is going to try to hurt you, but that means that there are people who are becoming more desperate, and they have addictions, and they are going to be people who are hurting other people. That's just a fact of life. But then also the animals, right? And so this basic technique, that could be the snout of a vicious dog coming at you, trying to latch on and rip off a chunk of your leg, or worse, and just immediately, very explosively, very quickly, bring it from here. Yeah, better prepare than to panic. Prepare or perish. That's the basic rule, right? That's why we got into martial arts. We wanted to feel a little bit more capable of defending ourselves. We wanted to grow our confidence, our strength, and our knowledge base. And that's what this is. That's what we're doing together. So from here, you're lifting it up here. That's one pivot point. That's what adds the speed at the end of the strike. The strike itself is done from here to here. So from the tip there to my elbow here, that's one long, big lever. So from here, I add them together. I'm lifting here and I'm snapping here. It becomes very fast, effective. They're not going to see it until it hits them kind of strike. You can go for the groin. You can go up under the chin. They're reaching with that knife. Smash the knife. Turn off the operating system. Don't try to take the knife. That's the whole point. So from here, one. The other way to use this is just to pick it up and thrust. And again, think of going straight through the middle of the person. Eyes, nose, mouth, throat, solar plexus, groin. Doesn't matter where you hit them. The next strike can come down on top. Or from here, you can go into the face. You can come down. This supported strikes, these two-handed strikes are extremely strong. So that's just a thrust and an angular strike down. Thrust, straight down. Thrust, change the hand position, and come straight down with your hook, right? That's also like a big old fist or a big hammer. So you can use that for basic self-defense. That's in this position facing forward. So let's review that very quickly. From here, put your weight on it. The idea is the threat's coming very immediately. It's very quick. You didn't expect it, so you have to respond. All self-defense is based on principles and not techniques. Techniques are used, but principles are more important. First principle, situational awareness, what's happening right now around me. Number two, where's the threat? Where's it coming from? Where could it be coming from? Number two, you have to get in a better position when you can. In this case, put the cane between you and the threat, especially if they have that weapon, or you don't know what they have. Create distance. Make your body a smaller target. Put the hard wooden and bony surfaces between you and the threat. If you don't have time to do that and you're here, we have to skip number two and go right to number three, which is the question, what are your targets? What can you remove or destroy? And this comes from Tim Larkin too. I talked about Tim Larkin earlier. When Violence is the Answer is the name of his book, but he's got a channel here on YouTube. And Sensei Emmett, if you could get him for your channel, He's kind of a different category, but that would weave all the stuff that you've been doing, that would weave it together so nicely. And he's probably like the rest of us. He's not working as much as he'd like to be because of the COVID. So reach out to him too. I wish I could give you his number, but I don't know him personally. So from here, pop him, right? Strike, come down at that angle, and the way you practice that if you don't have a bag is just come up fast. And I say this all the time. You want to go slow, medium, fast, and then just ridiculous speed as fast as you can so that you put pressure on your joints, in your hand, going through the range of motion in training before you need it for real. You don't want the very first time that you go as hard as you can, it goes flying out of your hand because your hands are weak, or you're not used to it, or you hit something and it's unexpected. So you have to be able to go through. I like that. You have to be able to go through the middle and then add a thrusting motion with a step. Step in, create distance, step in, create distance, aim, go harder and faster, and then striking down at this angle. It feels good too. It's like a good stretch. Practice that, and then we're going to take the cane, and from this position, we're going to slide it up. Now, at the beginning, we did this combat cane spinning. Combat cane spinning, some people call it twirling. Some people get offended when you call it twirling. Personally, I don't care about words. I'd rather do the training. You can call it Doug, for all I care. Spinning it starts to build the callus in the hand, starts to give you a good feel for how it moves through space and time, gives you proprioception so you can know where it is. It becomes an extension of your body. Spinning for self-defense, some people do. I don't. I don't say spin for self-defense. I don't even say do this kind of spin for self-defense. I say that you can use that to disguise repetition, that those can be strikes and those can work for some people. I simply don't. Remember, my mantra in martial arts is, it's not good, it's not bad, it's different. Stop having such strong opinions and you'll grow. From here, pops up. And I should know, because I have had strong opinions so I still have them. I try not to, but I still have them. But they're impediments, right? We're often wrong. I'm often wrong. Slides up. Thinking of Skip Ewing again. In Plum Village and Thich Nhat Hanh and the small I and all the emails. Into this. Take responsibility. That was one thing he was good for. Personal responsibility. This is between you and the threat. So from here, you're thinking, what tangent was that? That was just for Danny. And Larry too. I'm sure Larry's heard those stories 1,000 more than I have. From here, stepping in. You don't want to look, it's not about looking cool. And I only say that because I thought I looked pretty cool just now when I did that. So from here, when I step up, it's about getting the stick between you and the threat. Remember, you want to use the advantage of your walking cane. Cane self-defense is about put the cane between you and the knife. Put the cane between you and the bigger opponent. Put the cane between you and the multiple attacks, right? You pop it up here, strike here, come through here, swing back there, and you defend yourself. So from here, step in, and then you have pushing. It is, but this, and then the elbow, I think about that all the time. Bring that and smash it. I want to show you way more effective, and you don't have to be as accurate. And that is, if I'm here, I can reach in toward the ear, somewhere in that general direction, self-defense. Eyes, nose, teeth. This hook right here, that's going to remove all that stuff. It's going to rip it. It's a ripping tool. It's a ripping self-defense tool. Think of up on their shoulder, on the back, that muscle in there. You reach up there and then rip to the ground. Reach and rip. Rip, right? But what do we have to do first? We have to try as hard as we can when it comes to self-defense. We don't know if they have a knife, gun. We don't know what's coming next. If they've got 2 or 3 guys waiting to come jump on us with them. This is a life or death situation. I want to go right into the face. I want to interrupt their pattern, smash the nose, and then if I can, turn off their operating system. Good morning, it's good to see you. So from here, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to support it with the other one, and I'm gonna bring that hook straight through. And I'm not using it as a ripping weapon here. I'm using that because this is extremely hard. This is oak. This is a Cane Masters Dojo training cane. If you want to see what these cost, that's the first link below, I think. Anyway, click the first link. Thrust, smash. Thrust, smash. Why are we smashing here? Again, you want to turn off, you want to get rid of their most dangerous weapon first, or try to, and that is their brain, their experience, their intent, their horrible things that they might know because they picked up. They were in the pen for 20 years. They just happened to get out that weekend. They're probably bouncing back in, sadly to say, but they're going to hurt a couple people on the way. Now, that's not to say all people coming out of the pen do that. That's to say that that really happens. It's called recidivism, right? When they go back in. Recidivism rates for certain criminals. So you pop it up here, thrust, angular strike, and then there's that, bringing this back through. That's 3 strikes. So I have, again, 3 striking combination for you with the crook facing out. Pop it up, step in and thrust, support it, come at an angle, and step through and try to finish off with this supported, think of a straight punch to the face. Because you can't go straight because it sticks there, it's going to turn it and increase speed while you're turning. So it's going to be, it's that pivot point, right? Bam, straight across, tempo, face. It doesn't matter where you hit them, right here in the head somewhere. It's going to rattle the whole thing. Your goal for self-defense, again, this comes from Tim Larkin, when violence is the answer, it's all about not wasting time, not trying to get fancy, not trying to be pretty. There are so many cool things you can do with joint locks, pressure points, takedowns, come along techniques. You can sweep the leg and hook it up. And I practiced them all. Not all of them. I'm sure there's a lot I don't know. But I practiced a lot of them. And they are really cool. But it's like Hapkido, which is the Korean word for jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about old style jiu-jitsu, not the Gracie stuff. Gracie jiu-jitsu is very different. Or Aikido. Aikido, great martial art. Brilliant, right? Beautiful, very spiritual, very esoteric and aesthetic, meaning it's very interesting and it's also beautiful to watch and see, but it's not always practical for basic self-defense. Techniques can be used that way, but I want you, whether you're a senior, you're looking for senior self-defense, and this is cane self-defense for seniors, walking cane self-defense for seniors, I want it to work for you. I want it to work for you immediately, directly, and explosive. So immediate, direct, explosive. And we're going to get into the 3rd striking combination, and I want to show you how to get stronger with your cane. From here, turn the crook back, the hook, crook, turn it behind you. You can see you still have good support here. Step into the threat or step away from the threat. Either way, make sure the cane is between you and that knife, right? You need distance between you and the threat. Now you have this big, long piece of hard oak. And this piece of oak is also heavy. And that oak will crush, shatter, break bones. It's a self-defense weapon. It's a self-defense tool. But really, it's a mobility tool. And here's why it's so great for as an option for self-defense. It's a great option for anybody, especially seniors, especially women's self-defense. But because, and you don't have to carry it with you all the time if you don't use it for mobility. But no one can ask you to prove it. No one can say, show me your doctor's note that says you need to carry a cane. That's the HIPAA laws in the United States. In the United States, you're allowed to take this, and no one's allowed to ask you about your personal medical history. They're not allowed to know. They're not allowed to ask you. Police aren't. The TSA agent can't. They cannot stop you and say, hey, why are you carrying that cane? You don't look like you have a limp. You don't look like you need it. Show me where the doctor said, what's your condition? And you can say, all you say is, yeah, take yours on the plane. It's perfect. Just say HIPAA laws, you can explain it to them. You can also carry a little card. If you go to the Cane Masters, to the website, you'll see that there's a little pocket carry card. Or just Google it and write it down and stick it in your wallet or your purse. And then when they ask you, you pull it out and you read it word for word. Like knowing your Miranda rights. Hello, it's good to see you. And say, you know what, you're not allowed to ask me that. Those are my rights. There are a lot of rights that seem to be fluid these days, but that's one of them. If you know your rights, the police officer stops you and says, where are you coming from tonight? You don't have to answer that question, right? A lot of they're trying to establish probable cause for making the stop. I know that because I was a police officer in the military. Some departments don't let them do that anymore, but most still do that. And they build their case, and then they say to the judge, well, I asked him where he's coming from, and he said he was coming from the bar, so that gave me probable cause to take him out of the car and give him the test. And I'm not saying lie or anything. I'm just saying know your rights when it comes to cane. The second law, Americans with Disabilities Act, says that you're allowed to take it just about everywhere because it's a mobility device that allows you to get around. Now, back to where we were. So we're here, we create distance. Remember, first rule of self-defense, principles. These are principles more important than techniques. Techniques, strikes, punches, kicks, elbows, knees, biting. Principles, what's your strategy? What are the thoughts? What's the theory behind it? Very first thing, and it's great, everyday carry. Number one, situational awareness. You walk out of the house, you get off the bus, you get out of your car, you scan immediately around you 5 meters, 10 to 15 feet. Then you look up and you go 25 meters, 30 meters, you look across the street, who's crossing, who's getting, is there something, look at it, and then listen to your instinct. Listen to your instinct. It's there for a reason. It's a real thing. Then, number two, get in a better position when you can. In this case, put the cane between you and the threat. Cane's between you and the threat. Look at all that distance that I've created. And then number three, ask yourself, what are the targets that you will now remove or destroy? Attempt to remove or destroy. The ability to see, breathe through your nose temporarily, permanently, through the throat, that's fatal. Self-defense only. Solar plexus, there's cartilage in there too. You can crush that. They can't breathe. They go to the ground, hitting them in the groin or that thin muscle, keeps your guts in, then you get the hernia. The knees, the leg. With this, you're talking about the ability to break their operating system. And so you ask yourself, what are those targets? And I want you to think in terms, when you do these strikes, of not the angle strike or the strike here. I don't believe so. But don't quote me. I don't know everything. Google it. You're going to have to Google that one. I don't know if the HIPAA laws protect you with, there might be something there with using a walking cane or a hiking cane. All right, so from here, I want you to think of that operating system again, because again, you don't know they have gun and knife. What's their experience level? Are they an experienced brawler fighter? But you need to, when it's self-defense, don't mess around. And you need to go first, right? When you know you have to defend yourself, you go right into the face. And that might not be the strike that stops the fight, but that can create distance. Anything that this hard piece, and this, I beat that off of there recently. I haven't replaced it yet, but even if that's the hard rubber, the foot of it, that's still gonna knock their teeth, smash their nose. It's all just flesh and cartilage. Their eyes, their throat, that creates distance. And then immediately, that second angle and third angle. That's all I want you to practice. So from here, your weight's on it, better position, thrust, angle, angle, 2 angles. And then after you get the angles down and the thrust down, I want you to think in terms of face, head, head. From here, face, head, head. Kendo martial art, right? They use the bamboo sword, the fast one, the one where they have the cage on their face and they have that hard body armor. They teach for years to not to say the angles of the strikes, but to do temple. They actually say forehead, side of the head, side of the head. They say wrist, they say ribs, they say knees, and they train their fighters to think in terms of what they're hitting. Yeah, multiple strikes, but if you shift away from thinking angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, it's very FMA, right? Filipino martial arts. Very Kali, Salada, Eskrima, angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 9. And it's good to learn that way at first, but then when you're training practical self-defense, because you need to think about your intent, remove or destroy targets. I want you to think in terms of targets. So face, forehead, right? Or temple, forehead. So you can go face, 1, 2, let's make it 4 strikes. From here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then get it in the other hand and do it there too. And remember, slow is fast, fast is strong and powerful, but eventually you need to start put more stress on your body. Lost that one. And make it harder, faster, and get good at it. Now let me show you the final thing. I can hook it. And this is how you get really strong fast. This is the home gym, right? You get shut down, your gym gets closed, or you just want a way to mix things up, get stronger. Here's your home gym. This is a band. I put the link below if you need a set of bands. They're very inexpensive. You can start with the lightest one, and you can tell by the width. The wider it gets, the more resistance you're gonna have. So this is a very light band. Very light is not the right term. This is the lighter band. There's one smaller than this. This is like maybe the second. This one says 65 pounds strong. And I'm sure it's a little less than 65 because I've literally used this one for thousands and thousands of exercises. And when they break, they do not go flying across the room or fly back and smash you in the face. When I started, that was the biggest concern. I've now broken several of them. They just kind of go poof and disappear. They don't disappear, they don't like dissolve, but it just breaks and then you throw it in the trash. You get a new one. But that'll be years before you break it. So it goes over your shoulder, the bar's in front, and then you do your push-ups. This is a standing push-up. This is a great option if you're getting back into fitness. I also want you to learn, eventually I'm gonna show you on the next episode of cane self-defense for seniors, episode 3, or workout number 3, I'm gonna show you how to turn and smash for when they grab your cane. You're gonna turn and drive it to the ground. So you can do basic push-ups first, and don't go for repetitions. Go for 30 seconds at a time, because you need time under tension with bands. Time under tension for any workout. But time under tension will make your strength grow. And you're gonna get strong, explosive strength, not big, bulky muscles. Then you're gonna turn, bring it in, make this your second 30 seconds. Push, turn. Start to build strength in those shoulders too. And then the third one, bring your hands in and work just the triceps. So like from your forehead, pushing forward. You're gonna do that for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna slide the band down under your bum, and you're gonna sit back into it, and you're gonna curl. And when you curl, you're simply going all the way down and up. And then I like to do 3 different hand positions. This is one. Number 2, I bring my hands in very close, and I do 30 seconds here. And the third one, I'm gonna turn my hands over, keep the elbows close to the body, the thumbs on top, and I'm gonna pull. And what that's gonna do, that last set is really gonna start to fire up your forearm, give you that forearm strength to hold and to strike with devastating power. A lot of other ways you can use it. You can step on it with your cane. I like to pull it in and press and get a standing military press to start to build power in the shoulders and make your décolleté look great for summer. That's a joke. It will look great. That's just the upper part of your chest. But it will also give you strength along that range of motion. You might be sitting in that chair, you need to strike, knock somebody up and off of you. You need to have strong shoulders and a strong upper chest. From here, curl it. And then don't lift your elbows high, because everybody says, oh, don't do the upright rows anymore. But you're not gonna do them with heavy, heavy weights. You're just gonna pull to here, just to here. And then when that person comes in and they grab it and you're in this tug of war, which you're not gonna be in a tug of war, they're not just gonna pull out of your hand right away. That's my point. You're gonna be strong, but you're gonna let them have it. Turn and smash and come through and then jab, and you're gonna finish them off. We'll learn, keep getting interrupted. That's episode 3. All right, Mr. Cup folks, I appreciate that. Please put in the comment section, I need to grow this channel. With your help, I can do it. The reason I need to grow this channel, Danny and Larry will tell you this, Sensei will tell you this, the COVID has just knocked the stuffing out of our industry, and there are a lot of people who are still afraid to come back and train with us in person. Why would they be so afraid? I don't know. Maybe they watch too much news and they're listening, even if the rules are not applying to them. And maybe it's for good reasons too, right? But either way, you're welcome. I appreciate you too. Either way, this channel allows me to make just a little bit of extra money. It usually pays for the lights in the building, and then a little bit, now it pays for just a little bit of my rent. And I'm not getting into the politics of it, but because we can't control the politics of it. That's the key. Don't ask why. You don't need to know why things are happening around us the way they are. You just have to respond to them. Respond to them in a way that protects yourself and your family, that allows you to be yourself and not lose your sense of identity, dignity, your happiness. Do something about that. Turn off the news. You can't control that. And then work out. Do some exercises. Be of value to other people. Be a blessing to everybody you meet. Smile at people. They won't know because they won't see it, but they'll see your eyes smiling, and that's just as good, right? They'll know you're smiling under that mask. But control the things you can. That's the point. We can't control what happens to us, only how we think, speak, and act. Think, speak, and act. It's like when you're a little kid and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a fireman. I want to be an astronaut. Those are all jobs. If you teach your kids instead to think of how they want to be. You want to be more honest, kind, loving, brave, thoughtful, caring, persistent. You can work on that right this second. Adaptable. You want to be more adaptable? Work on that now. You want to be a better person every year as you get older, and you can work with your kids. So next time someone says, you know, what do you want to be, Johnny, when you grow up? What do you want to be, Sharon, when you grow up? Say, don't ask them that. Ask them how they want to be, and then they can work on that now. You can't work on being a doctor except keep your grades up and get good math and all that. But you can be a nicer person, kinder person, more tolerant, more respectful, more loving, more all that. Yes, that's what we need in the world. Absolutely. But my point is this. When you guys like and share and subscribe, and sharing is huge. If you can share this on Reddit, that's the perfect place right now. And this channel grows just a little at a time, that means I'll be here next month. And I'm fighting really hard because I'm getting a lot of pressure. Hey, when are you going to cut that and go do this? And I keep saying, I don't want to. I don't want to. I love this. I create so much value to other people. The world needs more of this, right? And so I really appreciate your help. And you know, when I go to the grocery store and I walk through and they every 5 minutes they're saying, put your mask on, we're all in this together. Put your mask on, we're all in this. And I look around and I think, no, we're not. You guys didn't get shut down. You ran out of toilet paper and you ran out of Clorox wipes, but you guys made more money than ever, right? The rich got richer than ever. So we're not in this together, but we are in this together. Sensei Emmett, Larry, Danny, and all of you, we're all in this together. So I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate all that you do to help me